in this moment. Just take yourself away from whatever situation you've been in. Remove yourself from any negativity. You've got this. And I'm here with you to help you through it as best as I can. We've all been there, going through a difficult period, difficult time. And when the problems start stacking up, it's hard not to do anything but focus in on them and allow them to consume our thoughts. And all we can think about is how we want to fix the situation, change our circumstances. And this thought, or these thoughts, these notions, bring us down. For me, sometimes it's almost as if, despite wanting to be happy and relaxed and calm, I can't help but focus on that negative and allow myself to get annoyed that the situation is a certain way. But that's not doing anybody any good. We really shouldn't focus on the things that we simply cannot control. What we can control, though, is how we react to a situation. We can control our emotions to an extent. Or, let me rephrase that. We can control our thoughts to an extent. I think it takes a lot of practice. There's an art of manipulating our thoughts in there. But that's where the root of our happiness lies. In our mind. We need to train ourselves to focus on the good so that we could experience more feelings of happiness and fulfillment, enjoyment, gratitude and love. Don't we all want to feel those emotions? But it's okay. When we're feeling down, it's alright to feel that way. But let's just try and pick ourselves up. We can do it together. We can inject some happiness back into our being. And the best way of doing that is to focus in on the present moment. Forget about everything else that has come before this point, that will come after this point in time. Forget about everything else. What matters is that we're here. And we're feeling calm, collected. We're not making any rash decisions or doing anything rash, any of the sorts. We're not doing anything that we would regret later. We're just taking our time to process, to sit back and breathe. Alright? Just take some deep breaths and let's trick our minds into thinking it's all okay. Are you ready? Okay. Breathe in, allowing the air to fill your lungs. Fill them right up, use them to their full capacity. And then release. And again, relaxing our shoulders, filling up our diaphragm, filling up parts of your lungs that have not been used in a long, long time. Full capacity, and breathe out. Release. Release the tension, release the stress. We don't want to be stressed. It's not good for us. It's really not good for us. Let's manage it together. I've been feeling quite stressed recently. If you follow me on social media, perhaps it's hard to tell, because I always seem to be running about, doing something, performing at some gig, networking at some event. But there have been things that have gone on in my life recently that have been sources of stress and negativity. And the other day was a prime example of how I struggled myself to remove myself from my thoughts. There was a situation, there is an ongoing situation that's kind of bringing me down. But I got away from it for a wee while. But even when I was away from that situation, it was still consuming my thoughts. And my mum said to me, just let it go for just now. Focus on this present moment. You're not in that stressful situation right now, are you? No, I wasn't. But I was still in a bad mood because of this situation, because of this circumstance. But what was the point? At that moment, when I felt bad, there was nothing I could do to solve the situation. It was out with my control. But yet, it was still present. I was holding on to it. I was allowing it to consume me when at that point it didn't matter. don't know if I'm making any sense, especially by being vague. There are just certain details of my private life that I think are best kept private, which might leave things open to speculation, but anyway. I just wasn't letting go. Alright. Let me think of an example that might be a bit more relatable. Just a wee bit more relatable. Imagine you have a job interview, okay? And you're feeling pretty scared about it. Nervous. And you hope it goes well. But it's on Friday. It's at the end of the week. And this is the start of the week for you. And tonight, you're going out for dinner to celebrate a loved one's birthday. But as you're getting ready, you think about this interview. The pang of fear, stress, nervousness hits you. You focus on it. It consumes your thoughts. And you go out for food, and on the way to the restaurant, it's at the back of your mind. As you order, images of this interview flash through your mind, and you feel stressed and anxious. Through all the conversation, you're anxious. You go home and you don't feel very good mentally. You've put so much pressure on yourself. But have a wee think about this. When you were out for food, there was nothing you could do about the interview at that moment, was there? Maybe you talked about it a wee bit with your family, but you couldn't really do any preparation work. You had a commitment to your family. And all that happened was that your mood was dampened by something that's in the future. And it prevented you from focusing in on that happy moment, on the birthday celebration. Maybe you weren't really tasting your food. Maybe you didn't really appreciate just how good that burger was. Or how refreshing that cocktail was. That's what we need to do. Look at the situation right in front of us. And then allow ourselves to be present and at peace with what's happening. It's so much easier said than done, and I don't even know if that was a good example. But maybe you've got something from that. And things will get better. You can do it. You just need some confidence. Have faith and belief in yourself, and don't let anybody else define who you are or make you feel less than amazing. You can be anything you want and achieve anything you want. It'll take time and effort, but I have faith. You can persevere. I've been doing some life coaching through my Patreon, and during one of the last sessions I had with somebody who's now my good friend, I told them a story, a wee anecdote, something that had happened to me earlier that day. I was at the bus stop and I was sitting there waiting for my coach when an older gentleman started a conversation with me. He said he liked my Doc Marten boots. And we got chatting, and he told me about how his daughter is a singer. She tends to sing in cover bands, but she's done busking in the past, and she's made a living through her music. And he said to me how proud he was of his daughter, and I could feel it. I could feel his pride, and it was beautiful. Beautiful to see. And then he just started imparting some life advice onto me. And he talked about his daughter and said how he always told her as long as she could sing, nothing could ever really be that bad. Just take to the streets and start busking if times got tough. Sing and you'll make money somehow. Okay, it might be difficult, but he was trying to teach her to relish her skills. I think that was the point. And just be content with the talents and the skills that she has. And he also said, despite the fact that he knew his daughter was a very good singer, she wasn't the best in the world. And that held her back in the beginning, this notion that there was always somebody better and that she wasn't as good as she wanted to be. But let's be serious. I don't think a lot of us ever get to that point where we feel we're the best we can be. We're always looking for improvement, and there's always somebody that's going to be better than you. But the key thing that this man told me was that's all about confidence and delivery. You could be an amazing singer, but if you lack that confidence, that sparkle's not there. You just have to go for it. And that's the difference between those who are successful and those who aren't. A lot of the time, it's to do with confidence and how we perceive our own ability. So take ownership of how great you are. Just go for it. Who cares if it doesn't quite work out how you imagined it would or hoped it would? If you don't try, then you're even worse off than if you did try, in my opinion. Because if you want something and you don't go for it, you're never going to have it. But at least if you try and don't succeed, you'll probably still be a wee bit closer to that goal. learn something, and you'll be more equipped next time. And who cares if you embarrass yourself or if other people judge you? Other people are going to judge you anyway. I'm sorry to say. No matter what you're doing, who you are, how you look, people will have an opinion. They'll make a judgment. Whether it's fair or unfair, who knows? Biased or unbiased. But that judgment will be made. So just go for it and disregard the judgment of others. It's your life. Fill it full of things that make you smile. And do the things that make you smile. And strive for the things that will make you smile. But enjoy the journey as you go. Enjoy building your skills and working towards something. Because it's fun. And even if you think you're working towards something, it might materialize in a different way that you hadn't quite imagined. So just wait and see what happens. Enjoy that excitement. I feel like we've got a bit of a problem as human beings in that we can sometimes struggle to sit on success. We achieve something and immediately we're looking out, wanting to find that next thing to strive towards without really sitting back and enjoying our success. We need to do that. Enjoy our successes. Enjoy your achievements. Be proud of yourself and reward yourself. Because if you're always looking towards the next goal, the next step, you'll probably never be fully satisfied. And happiness comes from within. Happiness comes from within, from being true to yourself. I've really rambled today. But as I've said before, sometimes when you get these rambles from me, I'm not only talking to you, but I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to that little girl inside. I'm talking to Josette, giving her a hug. Thanking her for being strong. And pushing forward. Give yourself a wee hug. You've been there for yourself this whole time. Throughout your whole life. It's been you and you. Learn to love yourself if you don't already. Because you deserve self-love. on that note, I'm going to leave you and yourself. When this video ends, just take a few moments, don't do anything, just process how you're feeling and how you want to feel. Try and click that switch in your brain and focus on the moment. Okay? Focus on the present, the power of now. Okay? And thank you for listening.